Hi, welcome to another episode of Conversations with Meg, the Expat Astrologer. So I wanted to just start this podcast series with a little bit of an introduction about who I am and just how I came to become the Expat Astrologer. So I mentioned in my intro, I am South African and I was born in South Africa. However, my parents are Canadian and South African. So I guess I'm from a history or family of expats. So my mom and my dad met in Canada, fell in love and moved to South Africa after only knowing each other for 6 months. And just I've always been drawn to what makes people move from their home countries, partly because of my mom's story. And then a little later, my story. I've now moved overseas to Ireland from South Africa. So I guess just when I found out that astrogeography existed, it kind of mapped a lot of things in my own chart as to why we were drawn to these places that were so different to what we had known. When my mom moved to South Africa from Canada, it was in the middle of apartheid in South Africa, and it was quite a really hectic time in South African history. And as an outsider, as a foreigner coming to a country that had a lot of political issues happening, it was kind of frowned on. Like I know her family weren't, like some of them weren't very pleased that she was making the decision to live in South Africa. And yet, if I look at her chart and I look at the map of South Africa, she has this beautiful line that links so perfectly to her chart. So there was a reason, there was a reason why she moved to South Africa, not just because of my dad and not because of love, but because of energy. And the same is for me. I have traveled to a few places and lived in a few places. And in each of those places that I've lived and traveled to, I've had a little bit of experiences that are different and unique to me, relevant to my journey. And so astrogeography basically allows you a better understanding as to why you are feeling the energy that you're feeling in a particular place. The best example is kind of imagining what you think New York City would be like. Imagine going to New York City and standing there and having that buzz of lights and music and just loads of energy happening around you. For some people in their astrology chart, that will sound like amazing. That will sound like, oh my God, that is an energy I want to tap into. That is like me. And for other people who are like introverted and kind of not interested in lots of big busy crowds, that could be like, oh my God, that's terrifying. I don't want that energy. And so that is how I explain astrogeography, because a lot of astrogeographers or astrocartographers out there will say, you should go to this line. This is where you're going to make money. This is where you're going to light up. But if your chart if that's not what you want, and it's not showing in your chart, that's not the energy you'll feel. You'll feel the complete opposite. And that's why it's really important to get a professional reading done, because people don't just assume one size fits all. Like, the world doesn't work that way. Okay, so my story is a story of being an expat. And so I have helped a lot of other people that are in a similar situation to me, that they are, global thinking, working remotely, wanting to travel, wanting to be like digital nomads, or just wanting to relocate their families to a new country. And so that's why I always say, definitely look at the planetary energy lines that are in those, in that new country. And then also look at where you were born, because that energy is the energy you carry with you no matter what. So even if you only lived in that country or in that location for like a few short months, you will naturally be drawn to that kind of energy. So as another example, I was born on a Saturn line. Oh my goodness. So that's like a whole separate episode we should talk about. I know I do talk a little bit about it in the episode with Lauren on Saturn, but for me, Saturn is a big player in my chart for a lot of different reasons. It's the ruler of my south node. It is the traditional ruler of my sun. It is in a very difficult aspect in my chart. And then I was born on it. So that energy, man, that carries with me no matter where I go. And I have, when I look at places that I've been to and where I've thrived, there's always been a little bit of Saturn energy somewhere in that area. Like, just for whatever reason, I'm drawn to Saturn. Saturn is drawn to me. I seem to follow it, right? And I've had clients that have the same kind of thing with their Jupiter lines or their moon lines or their Pluto lines. And they're just, it's like this one thing, this one aspect of your chart that you just haven't, if you haven't either overcome or worked through, or you feel supported by it, so you're naturally drawn to it. So that's something that I found quite interesting as well. And then, you know, we've gone back. I'm going to say this a lot in a lot of the podcast episodes going forward. It's unique to your birth chart. So you really need to look at what your birth chart says before you even look at the map. Don't look at the map until you have a great understanding of what your birth chart looks like. So, you know, it moves past your, you know, your sun and your moon and your rising. Yes, that's awesome. You need to understand those big three, but look at the full chart. And then go and look at the map, right? Once you've looked at the map and you see, oh, I'm on a Pluto line, that's got to be bad. But look where Pluto is in your chart. Maybe you have Pluto in your 10th house. Maybe that's where, you know, you transform in the work and career that you do. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that's what you want. So that's why it's really important to know where it is in your natal chart before you look and panic about what kind of energy you're living on. And the other thing that I want to also mention is that a lot of people think they need to move. Like, what about understanding the energy that you're on and accepting it and working with it? If it's a challenging aspect, maybe you're there for a reason. If it's an easy aspect, maybe that's why you're so comfortable there. You don't always need to have to relocate. You don't have to think about the next step, the next something. Don't always think about the future. Think about the present. Think about the past. You know, we're in there's still a lot of energy of retrograde. Mars is in retrograde at the moment. And, you know, this is a really great time to review. Don't make future plans if you haven't worked through current you. Okay, so how can I help you? So I do astrogeography readings for people that just want understanding of what do the lines mean, explain to me my chart, give me a reading. And then I do readings for people that understand their own charts and want further insights. So we look at natal chart readings, current transits, solar return charts. I can literally help you. I have helped clients move and relocate many times, depending on different relationships that they have, or current job opportunities, or if they're looking to publish a book, or they wanted to go on a golf tour. You know, like, literally the options are endless. So I do different readings for different people. And yeah, tapping into what you live on, where you were born, and where you're potentially going to in the future is kind of the sort of the essence of what we need to cover and look at. And we can do that in bite-sized pieces, over an hour session, over multiple hour sessions, or we can do a deep dive and give you a lot of wealth of information that you can take with you and, you know, look at in your own time. And yeah, people that aren't able to travel, you know, like, the world is opening up and, you know, restrictions are easing and people are feeling more comfortable to plan future, you know, travel endeavors and things like that. But sometimes people aren't, you know, able to travel due to financial reasons. You know, we don't take that into account often enough. So the options that I propose to people when they come to me with like, I just want to understand what is there in the world for me, and give me some sort of something to wish about or dream about in the future, but I can't actually financially afford to travel at the moment. Then we look at how you can tap into those energies remotely. So this is the other interesting thing about astrogeography. Have you ever been completely fascinated or obsessed about a particular place and you've never actually even been there? So you've just got this weird sense that you just have lived as a past life there, or you're just drawn to the culture, or you just love reading about a particular country, or you just got a taste for the type of food that is there. Whatever the reason, that could be because of the energy lines of those places for you. So you can tap into it remotely by picking up a book at the local library, making yourself a meal that is from that area, connecting with people on social media or on the internet. I wish that people would like go back to the days of like snail mail. Like, do you remember when you used to have a pen pal and you used to write a letter in ink, handwritten letter, post it with a stamp and send it across the ocean? Like, I love that sort of thing. Getting mail in to your door was just like such a thrilling, exciting experience. Maybe that's another way you can tap into that energy, connecting with people remotely, by email, letter, social media, whatever. You could actually have a family member or a friend that's been to that place, or speaking to them about their experience could help you tap into that energy. Life is just really, it's this endless series of amazing experiences and challenging experiences and awful experiences, and just like this whole mishmash of like what we get to experience in life is not just one, it's just not one emotion, it's many. And so we get to experience life in different frequencies depending on like what we're drawn to or what we need at that time. So whatever phase of life you're in, whether you're able to get off your couch and go get on a plane and go on a great adventure, or whether you're stuck or feeling stuck at just staying at home for right now, you can tap into that energy either which way. Okay, so I hope this little short episode was a nice little taster of a little bit about me and what you can expect me rambling on about my love for astrogeography and all things astrology. And yeah, I can't wait to chat more. Okay, bye.